The engine died 3 feet from the entrance. Kairo heard it before anyone else. The stutter, the mechanical wheeze, the expensive silence that followed. He stood against the garage wall, small hands pressed flat against cool concrete, watching 20 men in tailored suits freeze mid-conversation. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The Ravencroft Syndicate's annual charity gala was supposed to start in 40 minutes. Press vans already lined the circular driveway. Photographers adjusted their lenses. The boss's custom Rolls-Royce Phantom, midnight purple with chrome accents, sat dead center of the garage floor, hood ornament gleaming under fluorescent lights, going absolutely nowhere. Kairo's pulse didn't quicken. He'd learned years ago that panic was a luxury Omegas couldn't afford. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. The head technician, a broad-shouldered alpha named Darius, dropped to one knee beside the driver's door, fingers already reaching for the hood release. 2 other men circled the vehicle like it might explode. Someone barked orders into a phone. The air smelled like imported leather, gun oil, and desperation. Kairo stayed perfectly still. Invisibility was survival. The Syndicate didn't register Omega children in their systems. Not officially. No birth certificates. No school records. Just bodies that fetched tools, cleaned floors, and absorbed blame when things went wrong. He was 12. Probably. His birthday existed somewhere in the blur between winter and spring, unmarked and unmourned. Check the battery, Darius snapped, sweat already beading on his forehead. Check everything. The hood lifted with a hydraulic hiss. Men crowded around the engine bay, blocking Kairo's view. He didn't need to see. He'd spent 3 years in this garage, handing wrenches to mechanics who never learned his name, memorizing the architecture of machines that cost more than human lives. Specifically, Omega lives. A door slammed somewhere in the building above them, sharp, final. Footsteps descended the concrete stairs. Heavy, measured. The kind of footsteps that didn't rush because they never had to. Every alpha in the garage straightened their spine. Kairo's stomach tightened. The boss, Matthias Ravencroft, appeared at the bottom of the staircase, flanked by 2 men in matching charcoal suits. He moved like water through stone, unhurried and absolute. Salt and pepper hair swept back from a face that smiled for cameras and signed death warrants with the same pen. He wasn't tall, wasn't broad, didn't need to be. Power didn't measure itself in inches. Gentlemen. His voice cut through the mechanical chaos like a blade through silk. Explain. Darius didn't look up from the engine. Electrical fault, sir. We're isolating it now. You have 35 minutes. Yes, sir. Matthias's gaze swept the garage inventory, not inspection. It passed over tool racks, over diagnostic computers, over the 2 junior alphas hovering near the Rolls-Royce's front bumper. It landed on Kairo, held for exactly 2 seconds, then moved on. Those 2 seconds contained entire worlds. Recognition without acknowledgement. Awareness without interest. The look you'd give a chair before deciding not to sit. Kairo didn't flinch, didn't blink. The concrete wall pressed against his shoulder blades, cool and solid, the only thing holding him upright. Darius pulled back from the engine, face tight. Sir, the main relay's fried. We'd need to replace the entire, then replace it. We don't have the part in stock. Nearest supplier is 90 minutes away, and that's if. Find another solution. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was full, packed with consequences nobody wanted to name out loud. Matthias adjusted his cufflinks. Real gold. Kairo had polished them once, hands shaking, terrified he'd leave fingerprints. The boss hadn't looked at him then either. 33 minutes, Matthias said softly. I suggest you work faster. He turned toward the stairs. That's when Kairo's mouth opened before his brain could stop it. I can fix this. The words dropped into the garage like stones into still water. Ripples spread outward, heads turning, eyes widening. Someone's wrench hitting the floor with a metallic clang that echoed off concrete walls. Matthias stopped, didn't turn around, just stopped. 1 foot on the bottom stair, hand resting on the metal railing. Then the laughter started. Not explosive, not mocking, worse, amused, controlled laughter from men who'd learned to ration their cruelty, make it last. The kind of laughter that granted permission. Permission to ignore, permission to erase, permission to continue exactly as things were. Darius's face went from panic to furious in half a heartbeat. Get back to. Let him. Matthias still hadn't turned around. The two words hung in recycled air, casual and devastating. Now he pivoted. Slowly. His expression held nothing. No anger, no curiosity, no recognition of Kairo as anything more than a potential solution to a scheduling problem. Let the boy try. Matthias's smile didn't reach his eyes. If he breaks it, we'll say that's why it failed. There it was. The trap door beneath every Omega's feet, hinges oiled and waiting. Darius opened his mouth, closed it. His jaw worked silently, running calculations that all ended the same way, with blame flowing downward as it always did. Yes, sir, he finally managed. Matthias ascended the stairs without another word. His guards followed. The door at the top closed with a sound like a coffin lid. Kairo stepped away from the wall. 20 pairs of eyes tracked his movement across the garage floor. Nobody spoke. Nobody helped. They just watched. Some curious, some resentful, all of them already deciding how they'd explain this when it went wrong. The Rolls-Royce waited, hood open, engine exposed like a dissection. Kairo reached the front bumper and looked up into the mechanical guts of a machine worth more than every person in this room combined. His hands weren't shaking. They should have been. But Kairo had spent 3 years watching these men install parts they didn't understand, following repair manuals they didn't question, trusting systems that prioritized profit over function. He'd noticed things, patterns, the way aftermarket components appeared in places where factory originals should have been. Lighter materials, cheaper manufacturing, better margins. Nobody asked an Omega child what he thought about procurement inconsistencies. That was their first mistake. Kairo leaned over the engine bay, fingers hovering above warm metal, and began his examination. Not rushed, not hesitant, methodical. Behind him, someone whispered, "This is insane." Another voice, "Boss said let him try." A third, "Boss said we can blame him when it doesn't work." Kairo blocked them out. His whole world narrowed to copper wires and fuel lines, to the architecture of controlled explosions and synchronized timing. He found the problem in 90 seconds. Not the problem they'd been looking for. The real one. His breath caught. Just for a moment. Just long enough for understanding to slot into place like a key in a lock. The relay wasn't fried. It was bypassed. Deliberately. Routed through a secondary system that would work under normal conditions but fail under the specific electrical load of a cold start after extended idle time. Sabotage. Not external. Internal. Someone in this organization had installed cheaper parts, pocketed the difference, and created a failure point that could be explained away as mechanical wear. Someone in this room, maybe. Kairo's pulse finally kicked up. Not fear. Recognition. He could fix the surface problem, make the car start, get Matthias to his gala on time, or he could fix it incompletely, leave the deeper issue intact, let the system reveal itself. 31 minutes until the boss needed to leave. Kairo's hands moved before his mind finished deciding. He rerouted the bypass, reconnected the primary relay, checked the fuel pressure. His fingers worked with the confidence of muscle memory, every motion precise. The men around him shifted weight, exchanged glances. Darius stood 5 feet back, arms crossed, face unreadable. 28 minutes. Kairo closed the hood, walked to the driver's door, reached inside and turned the key still sitting in the ignition. The Rolls-Royce purred to life. Not roared, purred. $300,000 of engineering designed to whisper power instead of shouting it. Every man in the garage exhaled simultaneously. Applause didn't come. Relief did. The technicians moved forward, checking gauges, confirming systems, already constructing the narrative that would keep their jobs safe. Darius clapped Kairo on the shoulder, Hard enough to sting, not hard enough to be called abuse. Good. Now get back to. The door at the top of the stairs opened. Matthias descended again, slower this time, gaze fixed on the idling phantom. He reached the garage floor and walked a complete circle around the vehicle, trailing fingers along the hood, the roof, the trunk. Explain, he said to Darius. Relay issue, sir. We isolated and corrected it. Kairo stood 3 feet away, invisible again. Matthias nodded once. Good work. He slid into the driver's seat. The door closed with the solid thunk of German engineering. The Phantom rolled forward, tires whispering against polished concrete, and disappeared up the ramp into afternoon sunlight. Silence filled the space where the car had been. Then Darius turned to Kairo, expression blank. Clean the tools. Put everything back. No thank you. No acknowledgement. Just orders. Kairo nodded. The other technicians filtered out, returning to whatever tasks they'd abandoned. Within 2 minutes, the garage stood empty except for Kairo and the smell of motor oil. He gathered wrenches, sorted socket sets, returned diagnostic computers to their charging stations. His hands moved automatically while his mind spun. The fix he'd made would last. For today, maybe tomorrow, but he'd left the secondary bypass intact, left the cheaper relay in place, left the evidence exactly where investigators would find it, if anyone thought to look, if another car failed, if the pattern became impossible to ignore. Kairo wiped grease from his palms onto his already stained pants and looked up at the concrete ceiling, at the building that pressed down from above, at the weight of an empire built on bodies like his. Matthias Ravencroft had laughed because the room had already decided who mattered. But Kairo had just decided something too. He couldn't destroy the system today, couldn't burn it down with matches he didn't have. But he could make it reveal itself, slowly, carefully, one failing engine at a time. The question was whether he'd survive long enough to see it happen. What would you do if your greatest skill made you the perfect scapegoat? The transfer came 3 days later. No warning, no explanation, just Darius appearing in the dormitory doorway at 6 in the morning, face blank, holding a yellow file folder with Kairo's name misspelled on the tab. Pack your things. You're moving to the main house. Kairo sat up on his thin mattress, still wearing yesterday's clothes because he only owned 2 outfits and both were always dirty. Around him, for other Omega children pretended to sleep, bodies tense beneath gray blankets. Nobody moved to the main house. That's where the alphas lived, where decisions got made and punishments got delivered. Why? Kairo's voice came out steady. Small victory. Don't ask questions. Darius dropped the folder on the bed. 10 minutes. He left before Kairo could respond. The dormitory, really just a converted storage room on the compound's eastern edge, held 5 narrow beds, 1 bathroom with a door that didn't lock, and a single window that looked out onto the parking lot. Kairo had lived here since he was 8, maybe 9, delivered to the syndicate by a woman whose face he couldn't quite remember anymore. The other children still pretended to sleep. Survival strategy. If you didn't see something, you couldn't be questioned about it later. Kairo's belongings fit into a plastic grocery bag. 1 spare shirt, a toothbrush with bent bristles, a paperback book about fixing motorcycles that someone had thrown away. He dressed quickly, pulled on shoes held together with duct tape, and walked out without saying goodbye. The morning air hit cold against his face. October in the city meant frost on windshields and breath that hung visible in the pre-dawn darkness. Kairo followed the concrete path that wound between buildings, past the garages, past the administrative offices, toward the main house. A 3-story mansion that used to belong to some old banking family before the Ravencroft Syndicate bought it through a shell company and turned it into headquarters. White columns, manicured hedges, security cameras disguised as decorative lights. Kairo had only been inside twice. Once to clean after a party that left champagne stains on imported rugs. Once to deliver documents to Matthias's office while the boss was out. Both times, he'd moved through those rooms like a ghost, touching nothing, looking at nothing, existing as little as possible. Darius waited at the service entrance. He handed Kairo off to a woman in a gray pantsuit, Ms. Lorraine Chen, head of household operations. She looked at Kairo the way people look at furniture being delivered. "Follow me. Don't touch anything." They entered through the kitchen. Industrial-sized appliances gleamed under recessed lighting. 2 Omega cooks already worked at separate stations, preparing breakfast, eyes down, hands moving with practiced efficiency. Neither looked up as Kairo passed. Ms. Chun led him through corridors lined with artwork that probably cost more than the entire dormitory building. Their footsteps echoed on marble floors. Everything smelled like wood polish and old money. She stopped at a door on the second floor. Plain white paint, no different from a dozen others lining the hallway. Turned the handle without knocking. "This is yours." Bathroom is shared down the hall, third door. Breakfast at 7, lunch at 1, dinner at 7. You don't eat anywhere else. You don't enter the West Wing. You don't speak to Mr. Ravencroft unless he speaks to you first. Questions? Kairo looked past her into the room. Single bed, wooden desk, window with actual curtains, closet, his own closet. Why am I here? The question slipped out before he could stop it. Ms. Chen's expression didn't change. Because Mr. Ravencroft said so. 7 a.m. Don't be late. She closed the door behind her. Kairo stood in the center of the room, grocery bag hanging from one hand, trying to understand what was happening. Transfers meant punishment or reward. He hadn't done anything to deserve reward. But the room didn't feel like punishment either. Felt like waiting. He set his bag on the desk and walked to the window. It overlooked the Eastern Gardens, the ones guests never saw, where security teams did perimeter checks and groundskeepers burned leaves in metal drums. Past the gardens, the compound wall rose 15 feet high, topped with cameras and motion sensors. Beyond that, the city sprawled in pre-dawn shadows. Kairo pressed his palm against the glass. Cold seeped through. Solid. Real. A knock at the door made him spin around. Yeah. No answer. The knock repeated. Specific rhythm. 3 quick, 1 slow. Kairo opened the door to find another Omega standing in the hallway. Girl, maybe 14, with dark skin and hair pulled back in dozens of small braids. She wore a kitchen uniform, white shirt, black pants, and carried a plate wrapped in foil. Ms. Chun said you might be hungry. Her voice barely qualified as a whisper. I'm Amara. Kairo took the plate. Warm weight settled in his hands. Thanks. Amara glanced down the hallway, left, then right. Listen fast. You fixed the boss's car. That made you visible. Visible is dangerous here. I noticed. You don't understand. She stepped closer, voice dropping even lower. 3 months ago, an Omega boy named Terrence found money in the garden. Turned it in to Ms. Chun. Boss called him honest. Gave him a better room, better clothes. 2 weeks later, someone accused him of stealing from the kitchen. He disappeared. Kairo's grip tightened on the plate. Disappeared where? Does it matter? Amara's eyes held something older than 14. Being noticed means being used. Being used means eventually being blamed. You got moved here because someone wants you close enough to watch. Or close enough to frame. Same thing. She backed toward the stairs. Breakfast is at 7. Sit at the back table. Don't make friends. She vanished down the hallway before Kairo could respond. He closed the door, unwrapped the foil. Scrambled eggs, toast, actual butter. Still hot. His stomach turned. Not from hunger, from understanding. The transfer wasn't a reward. It was positioning. Matthias Ravencroft didn't move chess pieces randomly. Every action had purpose. Kairo had fixed the car, yes, but he'd also seen the bypass system, touched the aftermarket relay, understood exactly what kind of corruption that represented. He'd become evidence. Now he was being kept close, monitored, stored somewhere accessible until someone decided what to do with him. Kairo ate the eggs anyway. Calories were survival. Sentiment was luxury. At 6:55 a.m., he left his room and followed the smell of coffee downstairs to the dining hall. Not the formal one where alphas ate. the service hall where household omegas gathered before shifts. 12 people sat at 3 long tables. Nobody spoke. They ate quickly, efficiently, faces angled toward their plates. Kairo took a seat at the back table as instructed. Amara sat 3 seats down, eyes fixed on her oatmeal. At exactly 7 o'clock, Ms. Chun entered and began calling names. Each person stood, received their day's assignments, and left. Kairo Sen, report to the garage. Darius will assign your duties. No different from yesterday, except yesterday he'd slept in a dormitory with 4 other kids. Today he woke up in the main house with a door that locked and a window that showed him exactly how contained he was. The garage smelled the same motor oil, concrete, exhaust. Darius stood near the diagnostic computer, arms crossed, watching Kairo approach. You're on inventory today. Count every tool, every part, every supply. Write it down. He shoved a clipboard and pencil into Kairo's hands. Finish by end of shift. Busy work. The kind of task that kept someone occupied without letting them think. Kairo started at the north wall and worked his way through methodically. Socket wrenches, torque wrenches, hydraulic jacks. He wrote down quantities, noted missing items, cross-referenced against the faded inventory sheet already clipped to the board. 3 hours in, he found the inconsistency. The parts manifest listed OEM relays, original equipment manufacturer, premium grade, expensive. The actual stock sitting on the shelf showed aftermarket replacements. Cheaper, mass-produced, 40% profit margin if someone pocketed the difference. Kairo's pencil hovered above the paper. He could write down what he saw. Create a record. Make the discrepancy official. Or he could write down the lie. Match the inventory to the manifest. Protect whoever was running this scheme. His hand moved on its own. He wrote the truth. Every missing OEM part. Every aftermarket substitution. Every price difference. All of it documented in small, careful handwriting that didn't shake even though his pulse hammered against his throat. At 1 p.m., he handed the clipboard to Darius. The technician scanned it. His expression didn't change, but something shifted in his posture. A tightening around the eyes, a stillness that felt like held breath. This accurate? Yes, sir. Darius set the clipboard down carefully. Go to lunch. Kairo walked back to the main house, legs steady, mind screaming. He'd just documented evidence of internal theft, created a paper trail, made himself useful to whoever might investigate, and a target for whoever was guilty. Amara's words echoed in his skull. Being noticed means being used. He'd moved past notice 3 days ago. Now he was weaponized. The question was who would fire him first, and at whom? Would you document the truth if it made you the next target? Matthias Ravencroft stood in his office on the 3rd floor, looking down at the garage through a window tinted dark enough that nobody below could see him watching. He held a tumbler of whiskey he hadn't tasted. Ice shifted inside the glass, making sounds like breaking bones. The boy, Kairo, crossed the courtyard below, heading toward the service entrance. Small, thin, dressed in clothes that had fit someone else first. Unremarkable in every way except one. Matthias took a sip. The whiskey burned cold. His phone vibrated against the desk. He picked it up without looking at the screen. Yes, we need to talk. Darius's voice came through tight, controlled. About the inventory report. Bring it to me. Sir, I don't think. Now. Matthias ended the call and returned to the window. The courtyard sat empty now, concrete gleaming in afternoon light. Somewhere below, that boy was eating lunch, probably alone, probably silent, probably thinking. That was the problem. 3 days ago, Matthias had laughed when the child offered to fix his car. Not because it was funny, because it was expected. The predictable moment when someone powerless tries to prove worth, tries to matter, tries to climb a ladder that ends in a noose. Matthias had given permission as a test. The boy passed it, barely. The engine ran. The gala proceeded. Donors wrote checks. Everything continued as it should. Except Matthias had reviewed the security footage afterward, watched Kairo work, noticed the hesitation at minute 4. The way his hands had stopped moving for exactly 8 seconds while he examined something inside the engine bay. Then continued differently. Not wrong. Differently. A man who'd built an empire on reading people knew the difference between ignorance and choice, between incompetence and strategy. That boy had seen something, understood something, and made a decision. Matthias just didn't know what decision yet. A knock at the door. Darius entered without waiting for permission. Old habit from years of working together, back when the syndicate was 6 men in a basement instead of 200 in a compound. He held the clipboard like it might explode. The inventory doesn't match the manifests. Show me. Darius laid it on the desk. Matthias scanned the columns. His expression didn't change, but his blood pressure ticked up 3 points. Aftermarket substitutions. Not a question. A diagnosis. Going back at least 18 months based on stock rotation. Someone's been buying premium parts on the syndicate's account and installing cheap replacements. Pocketing the difference. How much? Darius did math in his head. Conservative estimate? 70,000 over 2 years. Could be double that if we audit the other garages. Matthias set down the clipboard very carefully, centered it on his desk, aligned it with the edge of his calendar. Who has access to procurement? Me, Terrell, Jackson, Ms. Chun for household items. Darius paused. And whoever approved the original purchase orders, which meant someone in administration, someone with signature authority, someone high enough in the organization that questioning them required evidence. Evidence that now existed on a clipboard held by a 12-year-old Omega who didn't know he'd just painted a target on his own spine. Matthias stood, walked to the window, looked down at nothing. Where did the boy sleep last night? Main house, 2nd floor. You ordered the transfer after. I know what I ordered. Matthias's voice stayed level, flat, the kind of calm that preceded violence. Has he talked to anyone? Not that I've observed. Keeps to himself. Eats alone. Keep watching him. Sir. Darius chose his next words carefully. If there's an internal audit, people are going to ask questions. About why we're suddenly looking at procurement. About who noticed the discrepancy. So that boy becomes the source. And whoever's running the scheme will know exactly who to blame. Matthias turned from the window. You think I don't know that? Darius met his gaze. Held it. They'd known each other 20 years. Long enough to speak in silence. What do you want me to do? Darius finally asked. Nothing. Yet. Matthias returned to his desk. Picked up a pen. Didn't write anything. The gala raised $2 million for youth outreach programs. Press loved it. Mayor sent a personal thank you note. We're scheduled to testify at the City Council budget hearing next month as model community partners. Meaning we can't have an internal corruption scandal right now. Meaning we need to handle this quietly. Matthias set down the pen. The boy stays where he is. Continue normal operations. I'll review the procurement records personally. Darius nodded. Started to leave. One more thing. He stopped. Sir, when you gave him the inventory assignment, did you tell him what to look for? No, just told him to count everything and write it down. And he documented the discrepancies anyway. Yes, sir. Matthias smiled. Not warmth. Recognition. The boy hadn't been trying to expose anyone. He'd simply been accurate. Done exactly what was asked without filtering reality through loyalty or fear. That made him either dangerously naive or dangerously intelligent. Matthias needed to determine which. Send him back to the garage tomorrow. Regular duties. Don't mention the inventory report. I want to see what he does when nothing happens. Darius left. Matthias stood alone in his office, holding a glass of whiskey that had gone warm, looking at a clipboard that represented more than theft. It represented leverage. Someone in his organization was stealing. That person would panic when they realized the discrepancies had been documented. They'd look for the source. They'd find a 12-year-old Omega with no protection and no value. They'd try to eliminate the problem. And when they did, Matthias would know exactly who needed to disappear. The boy was bait now, whether he knew it or not. Matthias picked up his phone, dialed internal security. "This is Ravencroft. I need surveillance added to the second floor east wing. Focus on the new Omega transfer. 24-hour coverage. Route the feed to my private server." He ended the call, took a drink. The whiskey tasted like copper and strategy. Kairo sat on his bed that night, back against the wall, staring at the door. No lock, just a handle that turned from both sides. The room felt smaller after dark. Walls closer, window darker. The silence broken only by footsteps in the hallway. People passing, never stopping, always moving with purpose he couldn't see. At 11:47 p.m., someone tried his door handle. Didn't knock, didn't call out, just tested the mechanism. Slowly, checking if it was locked. It wasn't. The handle turned halfway. Stopped. Released. Footsteps retreated down the hall. Kairo didn't move. Didn't breathe. His fingers dug into the thin mattress, nails catching fabric, heart slamming against his ribs loud enough that he was certain whoever stood outside could hear it through the door. 30 seconds of silence. Then the footsteps returned. Faster this time, moving past his room toward the stairs. Gone. Kairo waited 5 full minutes before standing. His legs shook. He hated that. Hated that his body betrayed fear even when his face stayed blank. He walked to the door, tested the handle himself. It moved smoothly. No resistance. Anyone could enter while he slept. Anyone could leave something in this room. Anyone could remove something. Or someone. Kairo pressed his forehead against the door and forced his breathing to slow. Counted to 10. Then 20. Then stopped counting because numbers weren't helping. Amara had been right. Visible meant dangerous. He'd fixed the car, documented the theft, done everything correctly. Now he was contained in a room with no lock, watched by people he couldn't see, waiting for consequences he couldn't predict. The smart move was to run, slip out a window, scale the compound wall, disappear into the city before someone decided he knew too much. But Kairo had nowhere to go. No family, no money, no documentation proving he existed. The syndicate wasn't just his prison. It was his only address. He returned to his bed, didn't sleep, just sat there in darkness, listening to the building breathe around him. Creaking wood, settling foundation, distant voices through walls too thick to understand. At 3 a.m., a car alarm went off in the garage. Distant, muffled. It stopped after 8 seconds. Kairo closed his eyes and saw the relay system he'd deliberately left incomplete. Saw the bypass he'd reconnected just enough to work. Saw the timer already counting down inside machinery that would fail again. Soon. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe next week. But inevitably, what happens when you're the only one who knows the truth, and the only one everyone can blame? The second car failed on a Thursday. Not Matthias's Phantom. A black Escalade registered to Terrell Kingston, the syndicate's head of transportation and logistics. He'd been driving to a meeting downtown when the engine seized on the expressway. Smoke pouring from under the hood, traffic backing up for a mile. Kairo heard about it from Amara during lunch. She set her tray down across from him, breaking her own rule about not making friends, and spoke without looking up from her food. Terrell's car died this morning. Same problem as the boss's Phantom. Relay system. Kairo kept chewing. Swallowed. How do you know? Kitchen hears everything. MS. Chun was on the phone with Darius for 20 minutes. He thinks it's related. Amara's voice dropped to a whisper. He thinks someone's sabotaging vehicles. Are they? You tell me. Kairo met her eyes. Held them. I fixed what I was told to fix. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. Amara leaned back, studied him like he was a machine she couldn't quite figure out. You're either very smart or very stupid. Haven't decided which yet. Can't it be both? She almost smiled. Almost. Terrell's furious. Wants someone fired. Darius keeps pointing to the inventory report. Says there's evidence of part substitution going back months. Kairo's appetite disappeared. He set down his fork. They're going to investigate. Already started. Ms. Chun pulled all the procurement files this morning. Someone from administration is reviewing purchase orders. Amara paused. And they keep asking who did the inventory count. There it was. The spotlight swinging back around. Kairo had documented theft. Now theft was being investigated, which meant someone was about to take the fall. And everyone knew investigators loved simple answers. The Omega boy who counted the parts could easily become the Omega boy who stole them. I need to talk to Darius, Kairo said. Bad idea. Worse idea is waiting for them to decide I'm guilty. Amara's expression shifted. Something between respect and pity. You really don't understand how this works, do you? It doesn't matter what you did or didn't do. It matters who needs a story that makes their problem go away. So I'm supposed to just wait to be blamed? You're supposed to survive. She stood, picked up her tray, which means keeping your head down and your mouth shut. She left before Kairo could argue. He sat alone at the table, food growing cold, mind running through scenarios that all ended badly. If he stayed silent, someone would frame him. If he spoke up, someone would silence him. Either way, visibility was quicksand. At 1:30 p.m., Ms. Chun appeared in the dining hall doorway. Kairo-sen, Mr. Ravencroft wants to see you. Now. Every conversation in the room stopped. Kairo stood, his legs held. Small victory. He followed Ms. Chun up 2 flights of stairs, down a corridor he'd never walked before, past doors with names on brass plates, executive offices. The heart of the syndicate's legitimate face. She stopped at the last door, knocked once. Come in. Matthias's voice carried through solid wood. Ms. Chun opened the door, gestured for Kairo to enter, didn't follow. The door closed behind him with a sound like a vault ceiling. Matthias sat behind a mahogany desk that belonged in a museum. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the city skyline. Everything in the room cost more than Kairo would earn in his entire life, if Omegas earned anything at all. The boss didn't look up from the document he was reading. Sit. One chair faced the desk. Leather. Deep. Kairo sat and immediately felt smaller. His feet didn't quite touch the floor. Designed that way, on purpose. Matthias finished reading, set down the paper, folded his hands on the desk, looked at Kairo for the first time. His eyes were gray, flat, oceanic. Tell me about the inventory report. Kairo's mouth went dry. I counted everything like Darius told me to. And you found discrepancies? Yes, sir. Between what we paid for and what we actually have. Yes, sir. Matthias leaned back in his chair. The leather creaked. Do you know what those discrepancies represent? Kairo chose his words carefully. Someone buying expensive parts and installing cheap ones. Keeping the difference. That's theft. Yes, sir. From my organization. Yes, sir. Which makes it my problem to solve. Matthias's expression didn't change. But it also makes it an opportunity. Do you know why? Kairo shook his head. Because theft requires documentation, paper trails, approvals, signatures. Matthias tapped the document on his desk. Someone high enough to authorize purchases. Someone trusted. Someone who's been doing this long enough to feel safe. Understanding dawned cold in Kairo's chest. You want to know who? I'm going to find out who. Matthias corrected him. The question is what to do with the boy who noticed first. There it was, the edge of the blade. Kairo forced himself to breathe normally. I just wrote down what I saw. Exactly. You were accurate, thorough, honest. Matthias smiled without warmth. Dangerous qualities in someone without protection. I don't want to be dangerous. Too late. Matthias stood, walked to the window, looked out at the city with his back to Kairo. Terrell's car failed today. Same issue as mine, which means this isn't isolated. It's systemic. Kairo said nothing. When I had you moved to the main house, I did it for 2 reasons. Matthias continued. First, to keep you close enough to monitor. Second, to see if anyone tried to silence you before you could talk. Someone tried my door handle. 3 nights ago. Matthias turned around. Did they enter? No, sir. Just tested if it was locked. And you didn't report it. Didn't know who to trust. For the first time, something like approval flickered across Matthias's face. Smart. Paranoid, but smart. He returned to his desk. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to continue normal duties. Garage work, inventory, whatever Darius assigns. You're going to act like nothing happened. While you investigate. While I dismantle whoever thought they could steal from me. Matthias leaned forward. But understand this, the moment I start moving against them, they're going to panic. And panicked people look for scapegoats. They'll blame me. They'll try to eliminate you. Matthias said it like he was discussing weather. Which is why you're going to stay in that room. Eat in that dining hall. Follow the same routine every day. Predictable. Visible. Contained. Bait. Evidence. Another smile. If someone comes for you, I'll know exactly who ordered it. Kairo's hands gripped the armrests. And if they succeed before you find out, then you weren't as valuable as I thought. Matthias picked up a pen. Started writing. Dismissed. Kairo stood. His legs shook but held. He made it to the door before Matthias spoke again. Kairo. He turned. The relay system in my Phantom, you fixed it just enough to work. But you left something incomplete. Didn't you? Kairo's blood turned to ice water. Matthias wasn't asking. He was confirming. I fixed the immediate problem, Kairo said carefully, but not the underlying cause. Silence. Matthias nodded slowly. That's what I thought. You knew one repair wouldn't expose the whole system. You needed the pattern to repeat. Multiple failures. Evidence accumulation. He set down his pen. That's not mechanical work. That's strategy. Kairo didn't move. Didn't breathe. Go back to work, Matthias said. But know that I'm watching. And I'm curious to see what you do next. Kairo left the office on legs that barely functioned. Made it down the stairs, through the corridor, out into the courtyard before his body started shaking for real. Matthias knew. Not suspected. Knew. And instead of punishing him, the boss had made him a chess piece. Positioned him precisely where he'd draw fire from the guilty party. Kairo had wanted to expose the system. Now the system was using him as a probe to find its own infection. He didn't know whether to feel triumphant or terrified. Probably both. When the predator offers you protection while sharpening the knife, do you trust the promise or the blade? The third car failed 6 days later. Jackson Lee, head of security operations, found his Mercedes S-Class dead in the compound's parking structure. No smoke this time. No dramatic failure. Just silence when he turned the key. Expensive, German-engineered silence. Kairo watched from the garage doorway as they towed it in. Jackson followed the flatbed truck on foot, jaw tight, hands shoved in his pockets. He was shorter than Matthias but broader, built like he'd been constructed from concrete blocks and held together with scar tissue. Darius met him at the garage entrance. Same issue. Better be. Jackson's voice carried across the concrete. Because if this is coincidence, I'm going to lose faith in statistical probability. We'll know in 20 minutes. They disappeared inside. Kairo stayed where he was, small and still against the doorframe, watching mechanics swarm the Mercedes like ants on dropped food. 15 minutes later, Darius emerged. His face held the expression of a man who'd just confirmed his worst suspicions. Aftermarket relay, identical to the other two. Jackson's jaw worked silently. Who has access to our vehicle fleet? Procurement orders the parts. Transportation installs them. Security approves the vendors. Darius paused. 3 departments. 26 people with various levels of access. Narrow it down. Already working on it. Ms. Chen's running financial audits. We're comparing purchase orders to actual installations. Should have a list by tonight. Jackson cut him off. I want names by tonight. He walked away without waiting for confirmation. Kairo slipped back into the garage before anyone noticed him watching. He picked up a socket wrench and pretended to organize tools while his mind raced. 3 failures now. Clear pattern. The investigation was tightening like a noose around whoever had been running the parts substitution scheme, which meant they were running out of time to protect themselves, which meant Kairo was running out of time to stay alive. At 4 p.m., Amara found him in the parts storage room, counting air filters he'd already counted twice. "You need to leave." No preamble. No context. Kairo looked up from his clipboard. "What? Tonight? Now, I don't care." She glanced over her shoulder, then back. Jackson's security team pulled everyone who worked on those 3 vehicles. They're interviewing them individually, cross-referencing schedules. That's good. Means they're finding who's responsible. No. It means they're eliminating suspects. Amara stepped closer, voice dropping to barely audible. And when they run out of mechanics and administrators to question, they're going to look for someone who had access to all 3 vehicles. Someone who could have sabotaged them. Someone expendable enough that blaming them solves everyone's problem. Understanding hit like cold water. "Me. You." Amara pressed something into his hand. A keycard. "Service entrance. North side. That'll get you through the first door. After that, you're on your own." Kairo stared at the card, felt its weight, its possibility. "Why are you helping me?" "Because I watched them do this to Terrence. Watched them build a case that made perfect sense as long as you didn't think too hard. Watched him disappear." Her eyes went hard. "I'm not watching it happen again." Kairo closed his fingers around the keycard. His whole body wanted to run, wanted to trust this escape route, wanted to believe survival was as simple as walking away. But his mind kept circling back to Matthias's office, to gray eyes that saw strategy instead of coincidence, to a boss who'd positioned him deliberately, knowing someone would eventually try to eliminate the evidence. If Kairo ran now, he confirmed guilt, became the scapegoat, the convenient answer. If he stayed, he was bait in a trap he didn't control. Both options ended with him dead or disappeared, unless he changed the game entirely. "No." Kairo handed the keycard back. Amara stared at him. "What? I'm not running." "Then you're dying." "Maybe." Kairo set down the clipboard. "Or maybe I'm the only person who can prove I didn't do this." "How?" "By fixing the next one." Amara's expression cycled through confusion, comprehension, then horror. "You think there's going to be a 4th? "I know there is." Kairo walked past her toward the door. "Because whoever's running this scheme hasn't been caught yet. And scared people make mistakes. That's insane. That's strategy." He stopped in the doorway, looked back. "Thank you for the keycard, but I'm not leaving until I know who tried to frame me." He left Amara standing in the storage room, holding an unused escape route, probably questioning his sanity. Kairo questioned it himself, but running solved nothing, confirmed every assumption, made him guilty by default. Staying was dangerous, but staying gave him one advantage. He knew the cars would fail again. He knew the pattern. He knew the signature. And when the next vehicle stalled, he'd be there to prove the sabotage started long before he ever touched an engine. At 8 p.m., Kairo lay on his bed, door still unlocked, waiting. Footsteps in the hallway. Multiple people, moving with purpose. They stopped outside his room. 3 seconds of silence. Then the door opened. Jackson Lee filled the doorframe, backlit by corridor lights. 2 security personnel flanked him, both built like they ate smaller people for breakfast. "Get up." Kairo sat up slowly. "Yes, sir. You're coming with us." "Where?" "Doesn't matter where. Matters that you walk voluntarily or we carry you." Jackson's expression held all the warmth of an industrial freezer. "Your choice." Kairo stood, followed them into the hallway, down the stairs, through corridors he'd never seen before. They descended into the basement, lower than the garage, lower than storage, the kind of basement that didn't appear on building plans. The kind where conversations happened that couldn't be recorded. A single room at the end of a concrete hallway. Metal door. No window. Jackson opened it, gestured inside. Kairo entered. The room held one table, 2 chairs, and a drain in the center of the floor. His mouth went dry. Jackson closed the door behind them. The security personnel stayed outside. Sit. Kairo sat. Jackson remained standing. Tell me about the relay systems. What about them? How they work? How they fail? How someone might sabotage them? Kairo's mind raced. This was the moment. The interrogation. The setup. He could lie, play dumb, claim ignorance. Or he could tell the truth, and hope Jackson was smart enough to hear what Kairo was really saying. The relay controls electrical flow from the battery to the starter system, Kairo began. OEM relays are built with specific tolerances. Aftermarket versions use cheaper materials. They work fine under normal conditions. But under stress, cold starts, extended idle, high-load situations, they fail. How do you know this? I've been working in the garage for 3 years. I pay attention. Jackson's eyes narrowed. You worked on all 3 vehicles that failed. I work on every vehicle that comes through that garage. That's my job. Convenient. Not really. Kairo met his gaze. If I wanted to sabotage cars, I wouldn't use a signature failure pattern that points directly back to parts one had access to. That's stupid. Or arrogant. Or innocent. Kairo leaned forward. You want to know who's really responsible? Pull the procurement records. See who authorized the switch from OEM to aftermarket parts. That person is stealing from the syndicate. I just noticed it. Jackson studied him. Long enough that sweat started forming on Kairo's back. Matthias thinks you're smart, Jackson finally said. I'm thorough. He also thinks you're dangerous. I'm 12. Age doesn't measure threat. Intelligence does. Jackson pulled out the empty chair. Sat down. Here's my problem. 3 cars failed. Same issue. Same signature. You touched all 3. You documented the parts discrepancy. You have motive. Omegas always have motive to disrupt alpha systems. I don't want to disrupt anything. I want to survive. Then survive this. Prove you didn't sabotage those vehicles. Kairo's heart slammed against his ribs. How? You tell me. This was it. The test. The moment where Kairo either convinced Jackson he was useful or became evidence that needed disposing. He thought fast. The next car that fails, and there will be a next one. Let me examine it immediately, before anyone else touches it. I'll show you the difference between mechanical failure and deliberate sabotage. Why would I trust you with that? Because I'm the only person in this entire organization who understands these systems well enough to tell the difference. Kairo held Jackson's stare. And because if I'm guilty, giving me access to evidence only helps you build your case. But if I'm innocent, I'm your best chance at finding who's actually responsible. Jackson's expression didn't change for 10 full seconds. Then he stood. You get one chance. The next failure. You examine it first. You find proof of sabotage that doesn't point to you. I'll reconsider your involvement. You fail or you run or you're lying. He gestured at the drain in the floor. Message received. Understood, Kairo said. Jackson left without another word. The security guards returned Kairo to his room. Locked the door from outside this time. Kairo sat on his bed in darkness. Hands shaking now that adrenaline was fading. Mind spinning through what he'd just committed to. He'd bet his life on the next car failure. On being right about the pattern. On proving sabotage existed before he ever entered the picture. Somewhere in this compound, someone was panicking. Someone who'd been stealing for months, maybe years. Someone who knew the investigation was closing in. That person would make a mistake. Soon. And when they did, Kairo would be ready. Would you bet your life on proving you're innocent, when the evidence is designed to bury you? The 4th car failed at 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. Kairo heard the alarm from his locked room. Distant, mechanical, cutting through the compound's sleeping silence. He was already dressed. had been for 3 hours, sitting on his bed, waiting for inevitability. He moved to the door, tested the handle, still locked from outside. Footsteps pounded down the hallway, multiple people running, voices shouting coordinates, someone yelling about the north garage. Kairo pressed his ear against the wood. Listened to chaos organize itself into response. 5 minutes passed. The lock clicked. The door swung open. Jackson stood there, hair disheveled, eyes sharp despite the hour. You said you wanted first examination. Get dressed. Already am. Jackson's gaze swept over Kairo's fully clothed body, his laced shoes, his alert posture. Something shifted in his expression, calculation reassessing probability. Move! They ran through empty corridors, downstairs, across the courtyard. Cold air bit through Kairo's thin jacket. His breath came in visible clouds. The north garage blazed with emergency lights. A silver Lexus sat in the center bay, hood already open, 3 mechanics standing back like they'd been ordered not to touch anything. Darius stood near the entrance, arms crossed. Malik's car wouldn't start when he tried to leave for the airport. Same symptoms as the others. Malik Washington, transportation coordinator, second in command under Terrell. His face was thunderous as he paced near the Lexus, phone pressed to his ear, rescheduling whatever trip he'd just missed. Jackson pointed at Kairo. You've got 15 minutes. Document everything. If you contaminate evidence, you're done. Kairo approached the Lexus like it might bite him. The other mechanics watched with expressions ranging from curious to hostile. He was 12 years old, about to examine a $40,000 vehicle while grown men who'd been doing this for decades stood aside. The pressure should have crushed him. Instead, it sharpened everything. He leaned over the engine bay, ignored the audience, let his eyes trace familiar paths, battery connections, starter assembly, wiring harness. There, the relay housing. He pulled out his phone, the basic model the Syndicate issued to all household staff for internal communication. Turned on the flashlight, angled it into the tight space where the relay connected to the main electrical system. His hands didn't shake as he disconnected the component. Held it up to the light, aftermarket, identical to the others, but something else caught his attention. Scratches on the mounting bracket. Fresh ones. Metal shavings still clinging to the edges. Someone had installed this relay recently. Within the last week, maybe less. What did you find? Jackson's voice came from directly behind him. Kairo nearly dropped the relay. Recovered. This part was replaced recently. See the scratches? The bracket's been removed and reinstalled. But the maintenance logs say the last scheduled service on this vehicle was 3 weeks ago, meaning someone worked on it off schedule. Without documentation. Kairo rotated the relay, showing Jackson the manufacturer stamp. And this is aftermarket. Same brand as the others. But here's what's important. This failure happened faster than the previous ones. Darius moved closer. How much faster? The boss's car lasted 3 days after I worked on it. Terrell's lasted almost a week. Jackson's took 5 days. Kairo pointed at the relay. This one failed in under 72 hours. That's not normal degradation. That's accelerated failure. Meaning what? Meaning whoever installed this deliberately damaged it during installation. Made it fail faster. Kairo looked up at Jackson. They're panicking, getting sloppy, trying to create enough chaos that the investigation loses focus. Jackson pulled out his phone. Dialed. I need the security footage for the north garage. Last 7 days. Cross-reference it with maintenance schedules. He paused. And pull Malik's vehicle access logs. I want to know everyone who had keys. He ended the call. Looked at Kairo. You just proved someone's actively sabotaging vehicles during the investigation. That doesn't prove you're innocent. No. Kairo set the relay on the workbench carefully. But it proves I'm not working alone, or I'm not working at all, because I've been locked in my room every night for a week. Someone else did this. Malik stopped pacing, stared at Kairo like he was seeing him for the first time. The kid's right. I had my keys the whole time. Nobody checked out my vehicle officially, but someone accessed it anyway. Security footage will show who, Jackson said. They waited in tense silence while data transferred, systems processed, cameras revealed their secrets. 12 minutes later, Jackson's phone buzzed. He read the screen. His face went still. Darius, you're coming with me. He pointed at 2 security guards. Keep everyone in this garage. Nobody leaves until I come back. What did you find? Darius asked. Evidence. Jackson was already moving toward the door. And a problem we didn't expect. They disappeared into the compound. Kairo stood alone near the Lexus, surrounded by mechanics who wouldn't meet his eyes, holding a sabotaged relay that proved someone was desperate enough to destroy vehicles during an active investigation. Amara had been right about one thing. Scared people made mistakes. The question was whether those mistakes would save Kairo or bury him deeper. Either way, the answer was coming. If you're watching this story unfold, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss what happens next. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Your words might inspire someone else who needs to hear them. Let's build something powerful together. The compound went into lockdown at dawn. Kairo learned this when armed guards appeared at the garage entrance and ordered everyone to remain in place. No explanation, no time frame, just orders delivered in voices that didn't expect questions. The mechanics sat on overturned buckets and tool chests, trading theories in whispers. Kairo stayed near the Lexus, examining the engine bay again, looking for details he might have missed. His stomach growled. Breakfast had been 3 hours ago in a different building. Lunch felt impossibly far away. At 9:17 a.m., the garage door opened. Matthias entered first. Jackson and Darius flanked him. Behind them, 2 more guards escorted someone in handcuffs. Terrell Kingston, head of transportation, the man whose Escalade had been the second vehicle to fail. His wrists were bound, his face composed, his eyes scanning the garage like he was memorizing exits. Everyone stood. Matthias stopped in the center of the garage. He didn't raise his voice. Didn't need to. Terrell Kingston has been stealing from this organization for 18 months. He authorized purchases of premium parts and substituted cheaper alternatives. He installed those parts himself during off hours. He pocketed approximately $140,000. Silence. Complete and suffocating. When the discrepancies were discovered, Matthias continued. He attempted to frame others by sabotaging additional vehicles, creating chaos, directing suspicion away from procurement and toward maintenance staff. Terrell's jaw tightened. He didn't speak. The security footage confirms he accessed Malik's Lexus 2 nights ago. He installed a damaged relay designed to fail within days. Matthias's gaze swept the assembled group. He targeted his own vehicle second, thinking it would deflect suspicion. Basic misdirection. It didn't work. Kairo's mind raced. Terrell had sabotaged his own car, created a false victim narrative. It was smart, except he hadn't counted on someone documenting the part substitution before he could clean up the evidence. Hadn't counted on Kairo. Matthias turned to face Terrell directly. You stole money. That's business. But you endangered people in this organization. That's personal. I fixed cars for 15 years, Terrell said quietly. Never got paid what I was worth. You drive Phantoms while we eat cafeteria food. Don't lecture me about theft when this whole operation is built on taking. The difference, Matthias replied, is I don't pretend otherwise. He nodded to the guards. They escorted Terrell toward the exit. At the doorway, Terrell stopped, looked back at Kairo. Smart kid. Hope it doesn't get you killed. Then he was gone. The garage door closed. Matthias addressed the remaining staff. Resume normal operations. Procurement will be restructured. All vehicle maintenance will now require dual authorization and digital documentation. Questions? Nobody had questions. Good. Matthias started to leave. Paused. Kairo-sen. My office. 1 hour. He left with Jackson. The mechanics exploded into conversation the moment the door sealed. Relief, shock, speculation about what would happen to Terrell. Someone mentioned a basement room with a drain. Someone else said he'd just disappear like the others. Kairo didn't participate. He returned to his workstation and pretended to organize tools while his mind processed what had just happened. Terrell was guilty. The investigation had succeeded. The system had exposed its own corruption. But something felt incomplete. Terrell had stolen money, yes. Had installed cheap parts, yes. But sabotaging 4 vehicles during an active investigation seemed desperate. Reckless. The kind of mistake someone made when they were running out of options. Or when they were protecting something bigger than themselves. Kairo cleaned his hands with shop towel, watching grease smear across rough paper. Matthias wanted to see him in an hour. That could mean acknowledgement, recognition, maybe even safety, or it could mean something else entirely. 1 hour later, Kairo stood outside Matthias's office. Knocked once. Enter. The office looked the same. Mahogany desk, floor-to-ceiling windows, air that smelled like expensive leather and quiet power. Matthias sat reviewing documents. He gestured to the chair. Kairo sat. "You were right," Matthias said without preamble. "About the pattern. About the sabotage. About everything. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me. You made yourself useful. That's different from being valued." Matthias set down his papers. Terrell confessed to the theft. He'll be handled appropriately. But his confession raised questions. Kairo's stomach tightened. What questions? He claims he was pressured to install aftermarket parts. Says someone in administration threatened him. Told him to cooperate or face consequences for an unrelated incident. Matthias leaned back. He won't name who. Says he's more afraid of them than he is of me. You believe him? I believe fear. And Terrell's afraid of someone. Matthias's gray eyes studied Kairo. Which means this isn't finished. Someone higher up is involved. Someone Terrell is protecting even now. Kairo processed this carefully. So the investigation continues. Quietly, internally, without alerting whoever Terrell is protecting. Matthias tapped his desk. Which brings me to you. You've demonstrated intelligence, discretion, and mechanical expertise. I'm transferring you permanently to vehicle maintenance. Full access, better quarters. You'll report directly to Darius. It should have felt like victory, promotion, safety. Instead, it felt like being moved deeper into the machine. What do you need me to do? Kairo asked. The same thing you've been doing. Observe, document, stay useful. Matthias smiled. And stay alive. Because whoever's above Terrell is now aware that someone noticed their system. They'll be watching for threats. Am I a threat? You're evidence that their system can fail. That makes you very dangerous to them. Kairo stood. Understood. One more thing. Matthias's voice stopped him at the door. The relay in my phantom, you left it incomplete deliberately. Didn't you? Kairo's blood went cold. I needed the pattern to repeat, he said quietly. That's not repair. That's investigation. Matthias's expression was unreadable. Most people in your position would have fixed everything perfectly and hoped for safety. You chose risk, exposure, strategy. He paused. That's not an Omega's survival instinct. That's an Alpha's hunting instinct. Kairo met his gaze. I just wanted the truth to come out. No, you wanted justice. Those are different things. Matthias returned to his papers. Dismissed. Kairo left the office, mind spinning, heart pounding against his ribs. He'd won. Terrell was caught. The investigation had succeeded. But Matthias had just confirmed what Kairo already suspected. This wasn't over. Someone bigger was involved. Someone dangerous enough that Terrell chose to protect them even while facing consequences. And Kairo was now positioned to find out who. Whether he survived that discovery was still uncertain. Don't miss what comes next. Subscribe and hit that notification bell. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters, and you never know who needs to hear your story today. The change happened in small increments. Better clothes appeared in Kairo's room. Still simple, but new, without holes or permanent grease stains. His meals improved. Not luxury, but portions that actually filled him, food that tasted like someone cared about seasoning. The other Omegas noticed. They watched him in the dining hall, expressions caught between resentment and curiosity. Amara sat beside him again, breaking her own rules for the second time. "You're moving up," she said quietly, pushing rice around her plate. "That's dangerous in different ways." "So I've been told." "I'm serious. When you were invisible, you were safe. Now you're visible to everyone, including people who don't want witnesses." Kairo understood. Visibility meant being seen by allies and enemies simultaneously. No way to control who was watching or why. 3 days after Terrell's arrest, Darius handed Kairo a tablet during morning shift. "You're authorized for the digital maintenance system now. Every repair gets logged here. Photos, diagnostics, parts used. Everything documented. Who reviews these logs? Me, Jackson, and administration." Darius's tone flattened on the last word. "Be accurate." Translation: someone in administration would be scrutinizing every entry Kairo made, looking for patterns, looking for mistakes, looking for reasons. Kairo spent his days photographing engines, recording part numbers, describing repairs in precise language that left no room for interpretation. The work was meticulous, exhausting, exactly what he needed, because while his hands repaired vehicles, his mind mapped connections. Terrell had been pressured by someone in administration, someone with enough power to threaten a department head, someone whose authority went unquestioned. That narrowed the suspect pool considerably. Administration consisted of 7 people. Ms. Lorraine Chun managed household operations. 3 others handled finances, legal compliance, and community outreach. Public-facing roles that required scrutiny and left paper trails. That left 3 people in positions that controlled internal operations: procurement, personnel, and operational security. The kind of positions where decisions happened quietly and questions were discouraged. On Thursday afternoon, Kairo was replacing brake pads on a Suburban when Ms. Chun appeared in the garage doorway. "Kairo, I need you to examine my vehicle. It's making a noise." Darius looked up from his workstation. "I can send. I'm requesting Kairo specifically." Her tone brooked no argument. They walked to her car together. A practical Honda Accord, 4 years old, maintained but not pampered. Ms. Chun slid into the driver's seat and started the engine. Kairo listened. No noise. None at all. She turned off the engine, looked at him through the open window. "Get in." Kairo's instincts screamed, but refusing a direct order from household operations would raise questions he couldn't afford. He got in the passenger seat. Ms. Chun didn't restart the car. She stared straight ahead, hands on the steering wheel, voice barely above a whisper. "You're being watched, not just by Matthias, by someone who doesn't want this investigation to continue." Kairo's pulse kicked up. "Who?" "I don't know, but I've worked here 12 years. I've seen people disappear. I've watched patterns get buried." She finally looked at him. "Whatever you found in those engines, it's bigger than Terrell. And someone's afraid you'll keep digging. Are you warning me or threatening me?" "I'm telling you to be careful." Ms. Chen's jaw tightened. Terrell was guilty of theft, but I knew him. He wasn't smart enough to engineer that whole scheme alone. Someone fed him the purchasing authority. Someone created the system that let him operate. And now that system is threatened. Now you're a problem that needs solving. She started the car. "Make the noise happen again tomorrow. In front of witnesses. Give me a reason to bring you back for a second examination." "Why?" "Because I have information. But I can't risk being seen talking to you directly more than necessary." She pulled out of the parking space. "Tomorrow. Same time. Understand?" "Yes, ma'am." She drove him back to the garage. He exited the vehicle. She drove away without another word. Kairo returned to the Suburban, hands steady, mind racing. Ms. Chun was involved, or protecting someone, or genuinely trying to help. No way to know which without more information, but she'd confirmed what Matthias suspected. Someone above Terrell was still operating, still dangerous, still watching. That night, Kairo lay awake in his new room, larger than the last, still without a lock, and tried to map the organization's power structure. Matthias at the top, Jackson running security, Darius managing technical operations, Ms. Chun controlling household logistics. But somewhere in that structure, someone had authority to pressure department heads. Someone who could order parts substitutions without triggering immediate audits. Someone whose position made them effectively invisible to oversight. The answer was there, hidden in plain sight, protected by layers of bureaucracy and controlled information. Kairo just needed to find it before they found him. At 2:34 a.m., his door handle turned. He was awake instantly. Eyes open in darkness, body still, breathing unchanged. The door opened 6 inches. Stopped. Someone stood in the hallway, backlit by dim emergency lighting. Watching. Kairo didn't move, didn't speak. Played unconscious while his heart slammed against his ribs. 30 seconds passed. The door closed. Footsteps retreated down the hallway. Slow, measured, not rushed, not panicked, just checking. Kairo waited 5 full minutes before sitting up. His hands were shaking now, not from fear, from understanding. Someone was establishing his routine, learning his patterns, determining when he was vulnerable. Tomorrow's conversation with Ms. Chun suddenly felt less like an opportunity and more like bait. But Kairo was out of options. He could run, spend the rest of his life looking over his shoulder. Or he could move forward, expose whoever was above Terrell, and hope the truth arrived before the consequences did. He chose forward, because backward led nowhere. And standing still just made him an easier target. Stay with us. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's see this through together. Ms. Chen's Honda made the noise at exactly 2:47 p.m. A grinding sound from the front left wheel, audible across the garage. Darius heard it. 2 mechanics heard it. Kairo heard it while replacing an air filter 3 bays over. Ms. Chun parked and approached Darius. The noise is back. Worse than yesterday. I need it examined immediately. Kairo, Darius called. Take a look. Kairo grabbed his toolkit and approached the Honda. Ms. Chun stood near the hood, expression neutral, but her eyes communicated urgency. He jacked up the front end, removed the wheel, examined the brake assembly. Everything looked normal. No grinding, no damage, no reason for the noise she'd described. But when he pulled the brake caliper, something small and metallic fell onto the garage floor. A washer, deliberately placed between the rotor and the pad, just large enough to create noise without causing actual damage. Planted evidence, a manufactured problem. Ms. Chun had staged this entire scenario. Kairo held up the washer where she could see it. Found the issue. Foreign object in the brake assembly. Can you fix it? Already did, but I should test drive it to make sure. Her eyes flickered. Message received. Take as long as you need, she said. Kairo lowered the Honda, grabbed the keys, and pulled out of the garage with Ms. Chun in the passenger seat. He drove slowly through the compound, past security checkpoints, toward the perimeter road. Once they were out of immediate sight, Ms. Chun spoke. 3 days ago, someone accessed personnel files without authorization. They pulled records on every Omega currently housed in the main building. Kairo's blood went cold. Looking for what? Vulnerabilities, connections, anything that could be used as leverage. She stared straight ahead. Your file was accessed twice. Once by Jackson's security team, that's normal. Once by someone in operational management. Who? The access log shows administrator credentials, but the username was generic, shared by 3 people in that department. She pulled a folded paper from her pocket. I wrote down the names. One of them is involved with Terrell. One of them is trying to bury evidence. And one of them might be trying to help. Kairo unfolded the paper. 3 names written in neat handwriting. Rashad Coleman, Operational Security. Simone Tucker, Personnel Management. Isaiah Grant, Facilities Coordination. He memorized them, handed the paper back. Which one? I don't know, but Isaiah Grant signed off on every vehicle repair authorization for the past 2 years, including the ones that used aftermarket parts. MS. Chun took the paper, pulled out a lighter, burned it in the car's ashtray. He has the authority, the access, the opportunity. That's not proof. No, but it's a place to start. She watched the paper turn to ash. Matthias is conducting quiet interviews, reviewing financial records, but whoever's involved knows he's looking. They're covering tracks, destroying evidence. What do you need from me? Keep documenting repairs. Keep being visible. Be the distraction while Matthias investigates from above. Her voice dropped. And watch your back, because someone's already decided you're a problem. Kairo drove them back to the garage, parked. Ms. Chun exited without another word and walked toward the main building. He returned to his bay and logged the brake repair in the digital system. Foreign object removed. Test drive completed. Vehicle operational. Truth wrapped in technical language. That night, Kairo sat at his desk and wrote down everything he knew. Names, dates, patterns, evidence chains. He folded the paper small, tucked it inside the spine of his motorcycle repair book, and slid the book under his mattress. If something happened to him, someone might find it, might understand what he'd discovered, might finish what he started. At 11 p.m., Amara knocked on his door. He opened it to find her holding a plate of food and an expression that looked like grief. Isaiah Grant resigned this afternoon. Effective immediately. She set the plate on his desk. Matthias accepted without question. Kairo's stomach dropped. Where is he now? Gone. Left the compound 2 hours ago. Security escorted him off property. Amara's hands were shaking. That's not normal. When people resign, they give notice, pack their offices, say goodbye. Isaiah just disappeared. Did he confess? Matthias isn't saying. But Jackson's team is reviewing every file Isaiah touched for the past 5 years. She looked at Kairo directly. Whatever you found, it worked. The investigation's moving to personnel and facilities now. Victory should have felt different, safer. Instead, Kairo felt exposed. Isaiah was gone, yes, but gone where? Running? Hiding? Or repositioning somewhere Matthias couldn't reach? You did good, Amara said quietly. Terrell's arrested. Isaiah's gone. The system revealed itself. It's not finished. Maybe not, but it's better than it was. She moved toward the door. Stopped. Ms. Chun asked me to tell you something. She said, the boy who fixed what others couldn't see deserves to know his work mattered. She left before Kairo could respond. He sat alone in his room, eating food that had gone lukewarm, staring at nothing. 2 men implicated. 1 arrested. 1 disappeared. But the feeling in his chest wasn't satisfaction. It was unfinished business. Because systems didn't collapse from 2 resignations. They adapted. They protected their core. They sacrificed the visible threats to protect the invisible ones. Matthias had said it himself. Scared people make mistakes. But smart people don't make mistakes. They make decoys. Keep watching, subscribe now, and turn on notifications. Share this story if it moved you. Comment below with your thoughts. Let's keep building this community together. Matthias called Kairo to his office 6 days later. The summons came through Darius, short, direct, no context. Just, boss wants to see you. Now. Kairo climbed the familiar stairs, walked the familiar corridor, knocked on the familiar door. Everything the same as before except the weight in his chest. Enter. Matthias stood at the window, hands clasped behind his back, looking out at the compound stretched below. He didn't turn when Kairo closed the door. Terrell confessed to everything. Isaiah Grant's financial records confirmed he'd been authorizing fraudulent purchases and splitting profits. Both men are being handled through appropriate channels. Matthias's voice was measured, clinical. The parts substitution scheme is dismantled. Procurement has new oversight. Vehicle maintenance has digital accountability. The problem is solved. Kairo stood near the desk, waiting for the other shoe to drop. You were right, Matthias continued, about the pattern, about the sabotage, about the corruption running deeper than surface theft. He finally turned around. You demonstrated intelligence beyond your years and discretion beyond your position. That's rare. Valuable. Thank you, sir. Which is why I'm offering you a choice. Matthias returned to his desk. Saturday, gestured for Kairo to sit as well. You can remain in vehicle maintenance. Continue the work you've been doing. Earn a proper wage. Not much, but more than Omegas typically receive. Stay in the main building. Have access to education resources if you want them. Kairo's pulse quickened. Or you can request transfer to another organization. I have connections. Legitimate businesses that need smart people who understand systems. Matthias leaned back. You'd be leaving the syndicate entirely. Clean break. New start. No association with this place or its history. The choice sat between them like a living thing. Stay with the devil he knew, or risk the devil he didn't. If I stay, Kairo said carefully, what happens when the next problem emerges? When someone else gets scared and decides I know too much? I protect you. You've proven useful. I don't discard useful tools carelessly. Tools get replaced when better ones come along. Matthias smiled. True, but you're not just a tool anymore. You're evidence that this organization can expose its own corruption. That matters for legitimacy, for the political relationships I'm building, for the transition from criminal enterprise to legitimate business. You're using me as proof you're reforming. I'm giving you a position that has value beyond mechanical work. Matthias's expression hardened slightly. Don't mistake pragmatism for exploitation. I'm offering you real opportunity, safety, resources. In exchange, you continue doing what you do. Observe, document, stay accurate. Kairo thought about the dormitory he'd left behind. The children still sleeping on thin mattresses, still invisible, still expendable. Thought about Amara bringing him food at night, risking her own safety to warn him. Thought about Ms. Chun staging a break problem so she could share information. Leaving meant abandoning them. Saving himself while others remained trapped. Staying meant being visible, being watched, being valuable only as long as he remained useful. Both options carried weight. Neither promised safety. If I stay, Kairo said slowly, I want conditions. Matthias raised an eyebrow. You're negotiating? You said I'm valuable. Valuable things have terms. Kairo met his gaze. Omega children get documented. Birth certificates, education records, health screenings. Proper documentation proving they exist. That's not standard practice. It is now. If you want me to stay and be your proof of reform. Matthias studied him, long enough that Kairo's palms started sweating. Then he picked up a pen, wrote something on paper, and pushed it across the desk. Agreed. Omega documentation starts immediately. Ms. Chun will oversee the process. He tapped the paper. Anything else? Amara gets moved to the main building. Better quarters. She helped me when she didn't have to. Done. And if someone threatens me again, if anyone tests my door handle at 3 a.m. or accesses my files without cause, I want to know immediately. Jackson's team monitors your floor. You'll be informed of any security concerns. Matthias leaned forward. Are we finished negotiating? One more thing. Kairo's voice steadied. I want to learn more than mechanical work. Administration, management, how organizations actually function. You want to understand power. I want to understand the system I'm operating in. Matthias smiled, genuine this time, something almost like respect. You'll work with Darius in the mornings. Afternoons, you'll shadow different departments. Rotation schedule. 1 month each. You'll learn procurement, personnel, operations, security. Everything. Why would you teach me that? Because in 10 years, I'll need people who understand this organization from the inside. People who are loyal not because they're forced, but because they chose to stay. Matthias stood, extended his hand. Deal. Kairo looked at the offered hand. Matthias Ravencroft, alpha boss, criminal enterprise leader, man who'd used him as bait and called it strategy. But also the man who'd investigated his own organization, who'd dismantled corruption when he could have buried it, who was offering a 12-year-old Omega a seat at the table instead of a spot against the wall. Kairo shook his hand. Deal. They released. Matthias returned to the window. You'll start rotations next week. Darius will provide the schedule. Questions? Just one. Kairo moved toward the door. Did you know Isaiah would run when you started investigating? I knew someone would break when pressure increased. Isaiah made the choice to run rather than explain. Matthias didn't turn around. Sometimes the smartest move is watching who runs and who stays. Kairo left the office with a new position, new responsibilities, and the growing understanding that he'd just agreed to become part of the machinery he'd worked to expose. But machinery could be changed from inside. Systems could be reformed by people who understood them. And 12-year-old boys who fixed cars could grow into men who fixed organizations, if they survived long enough. 3 months later, Kairo stood in the same garage where everything started, teaching 2 new Omega mechanics how to properly document repairs. One was 14, one was 10. Both watched him with expressions caught between hope and caution. Always photograph before and after, Kairo explained. Write down everything. Be accurate. Accuracy protects you. The 14-year-old Marcus raised his hand. What if we find something wrong? Something that shouldn't be there? Document it. Report it. Don't hide truth to avoid consequences. Kairo met his eyes. Truth is the only protection that lasts. Amara appeared in the doorway, now wearing the gray uniform of household management. She'd been promoted after Ms. Chun recommended her for administrative training. She caught Kairo's eye and nodded toward the main building. Meeting time. Kairo left the 2 mechanics practicing with diagnostic tablets and walked across the courtyard. The compound looked the same as it had 4 months ago. Same buildings, same security, same walls. But smaller things had changed. Omega children now attended classes in the morning. Medical records existed. Names were documented. Not freedom, not equality, but progress. Matthias was waiting in the conference room with Jackson, Darius, and 3 people Kairo now recognized. Department heads gathering for weekly operations review. Kairo, Matthias said, glad you're here. We're discussing the new maintenance protocols. I want your input on the digital documentation system. Kairo took his seat at the table. Not at the head, not in charge, but present, visible, valued. It wasn't the ending he'd imagined when he'd first said, I can fix this, in a garage full of laughing alphas. But it was the ending he'd earned. And sometimes that was enough. Thank you for being part of this journey. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We've got more stories that challenge, inspire, and reveal truth in unexpected places. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters. Your story matters. And together, we're building something that can't be silenced. See you in the next one.